Hi, this is Dr. Craig Ross. And I bet you're wondering where I came up with the idea that your chronic condition is anything like my baseball career. I've been in practice for 32 years, but a lot of my life has revolved around baseball. And I was looking for a place to do my video, and I didn't even think about this until a little while ago. This field right here, which is right down the street from my office, is where I had my very, very first baseball practice in 1963 at 8 years old. Um, I sucked. I did not even hit a foul ball the whole season. My brother was on the team, my dad was one of the coaches, and I don't know if I was an embarrassment to them, but I was an embarrassment to myself. Um, but I was pretty lost out on the baseball field. The next year at 9 years old, I did a little bit better. Um, and then the following year at 10, my brother needed to go up to the next division, and my parents wanted me on the same team as my brother. So I got moved up to the next division, and I had another really poor year. I think I hit one foul ball off my knuckles, and that was the extent of my hitting for the whole season. The next year, I was 11, I did a little bit better. And then when I was 12, I had a breakout year. I led the league in hitting, pitching, home runs. I was on the all-star team. I had parents coming up to me all excited to meet like this superstar, and I was pretty shy back then, and it was kind of a strange feeling, but it did feel good. Following year, I moved on up. I was 13 years old, and I was playing against 14 and 15-year-olds, and these guys were shaving, and I did okay. I didn't do as bad as I did in the previous years because I'd already built up my skills. But again, I was back to being the runt. And at 14, I did quite a bit better. I didn't make the All-Stars, but then the following year, at 15 years old, I had a really good season. I led the league in pitching, home runs, batting average, probably stolen bases too. And but part of the problem with that 15-year-old season was the reason why I played the whole season was I was cut in high school. My 10th grade season, 10th grade in high school, I was cut from the baseball team. There was like 250 guys trying out, and my older brother ended up making the junior varsity team, but I was cut. So then I got 11th grade. I made the team. I had to struggle to kind of beat out some of the other guys so that I got to pitch. I was the number 2 pitcher, pitched every other game, and even threw a no-hitter that season. Then the following year, I was on varsity, and I didn't have any ideas of going on to college or anything like that. I was just glad I made the high school team. So I enrolled at Cal State Northridge during my senior year, and I was playing during the season. I beat out the guys that I beat out the year before, and I was the number 2 pitcher, which basically was alternating with the number 1 every other game. And at that time, I was able to hit when I was pitching, and I hit pretty well, and the coach made me an outfielder. I ended up making all league in the outfield, and the coach from Cal State Northridge recruited me to go there, and I was already enrolled, so it made it easy for him. He didn't have to pay me the $92 scholarship. Came out, I thought I did pretty well, and some of my friends thought I did well, but I ended up getting put on the junior varsity team. But even worse than that, when I was on the junior varsity team, I didn't even pitch for the first month. I went up to the coach. I was pretty shy then, and almost with tears in my eyes, asking the coach why I wasn't getting to play. And he told me that he felt like the other players were better than I was. And I said, well, I disagree. So he said, okay, well, we'll get you in a game coming up soon. So our next game was against UCLA. They brought some of their varsity players down, and he told me I'd be number 3 pitcher, and go number 3 pitcher. That was kind of strange. Anyways, in less than 2 innings, we're losing 10-0, and time for number 3 pitcher. So I came out, and I pitched from the 2nd inning through the 9th inning, and I gave up 1 hit, no runs, and we ended up scoring 11 runs and beat UCLA 11-10. After that, I got to pitch. He told me the following season, the coach, that he was planning on cutting me before I even came out, but I was throwing harder, and so he kept me on. And I was doing fairly well, and then I had a really bad injury to my elbow. It locked up on me. I couldn't even straighten out my arm. and that was pretty much the end of my season. I went to several different doctors, famous doctors. I got 16 cortisone injections in my elbow, and they told me that I was going to have to sit out a year and then come back. So kind of optimistic that a year will go by fast. And I went to the head coach and let him know what the doctor said, and he told me that if I sat out a year, he didn't see me coming back, which I kind of thought, well, who tells a 18, 19-year-old? Well, I look back now, who tells an 18, 19-year-old if you sit out a year, I don't see you coming back? But I sat out. I tried to come back as a first baseman. I got cut without even taking any batting practice, and pretty much my college career was over. I ended up with my gimpy elbow playing softball with my friends and my brothers, and after a while, I started to build my arm strength up, and I picked up a baseball and started throwing a little bit, and then I got asked to play on a baseball team locally around here, and I did pretty well. I played on the team that won the 30 and over World Series. I was almost 40 at that time. I was throwing better at 40 than I was at 18, so I kind of proved the coach I could sit out almost 20 years and still do pretty well. Um, the following year, I moved up to Northern California, and at the very first baseball practice, I thought it would be a good idea to dive for a fly ball, and I ended up seriously breaking my right wrist as I was diving outstretched, and my glove got caught in the grass, and I ended up the second half of the season playing kind of one-handed with a cast on. Did fairly decent. But when I broke it at first, I realized that I'm moving into a new area and I wasn't going to be able to practice. So I took a seminar series, Care of the Elite and Professional Athlete, which was really cool. And I trained with some of the best doctors in the country. Once I healed up and I was in practice for a while, in 2003, I was playing baseball again. I was almost 50 and I was playing on a 30 and over team, and I was on first base, and I went to dive back to first base to avoid being picked off, and I broke my right shoulder in 5 places. I wasn't able to practice for a while. I developed frozen shoulder. I ended up having surgery, and then I needed to look for something else to do. I ended up getting my real estate license because I didn't think I was going to be able to adjust patients anymore, and so I had to look for something else. Got my real estate license, was working with my wife, but I was keeping my license active, so I went to a seminar, and there was this thing about cranial work, and I thought, it sounds interesting. It's not the typical thing that I would be interested. That working on skulls versus working on athletes and auto injuries and work injuries and stuff like that. But it kind of turned my life around, and I had the ups and downs of a baseball career, but it was very similar to the chronic patients that I get now. And so we'll continue this in my office. Okay, so how does my baseball career really relate to chronic illnesses that I treat in the office? Well, I see a lot of the ups and downs. The ups and downs that I experience is the pains, the emotional upsets. I get lots of patients that have been to 5, 6, 7 doctors and been given hope, and then having the hope taken away from them, or just not showing up, or it's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but it happens to be another oncoming train. The illnesses that present in my office that we get good success with, fibromyalgia and the migraines, and post-concussion, different types of symptoms. But basically it's about making the body work better. And there will be ups and downs. Nobody goes on a straight healing curve straight up. However, we dig deep into finding what's going on and the underlying reasons for the symptoms. Symptoms are just usually the body telling you that there's something going on. And if all you do is take drugs to mask the symptoms, then the underlying problem just keeps on kind of festering. It's kind of like if right now There was a fire in the office, and the fire alarm was going off right above me, and I cut the wires. As I go in, there's still a fire, and that's what a lot of the medications do. They don't go to the cause, and what we do really well is going for the cause. We dig through lab work, and we dig through past treatments and history, and I mean a really good deep history can give us a lot of information. Thorough exam. I use heart rate variability, which shows the body's autonomic nervous system and the body's stress hardiness. We use balance testing, posture testing, uh, other neurological tests, and we're straightforward with you. We let you know what's going on, and we're there for you when you do have the setbacks. We don't tell you, if I sit out a year, I don't see it coming back. Anyways, that's kind of how I see that my baseball career relates to my chronic patients. If you have any questions at all, look at the little thing down below and press Ask Dr. Ross. For more questions, or you can schedule a consultation with me or a exam. So again, this is Dr. Ross, and have a good day, and hopefully this was a little bit informative for you. One of the big differences in our treatment in this office has to do with neurocranial integration, a technique that I developed back in 2008. I've trained doctors in 36 states, 9 different countries. We've got about 350 doctors. We have some working with professional baseball teams, college athletes, and again working with the chronically ill patients also. And with that technique, it's a very gentle minute and a half technique that basically balances out the brain and the nervous system and allows the body to work better. I really don't have control of it as far as what it's going to do. I've had patients that had neck pain and shoulder pain on the first visit. Her vision improved and the neck pain and shoulder pain improved. On the second visit, she went to get out of bed and her hammer toes of 30 years had uncurled. I have patients come in with headaches and their hemorrhoids have cleared up. Basically, it's just about making the body work better. And when the body works better, it can heal all kinds of different ailments. Basically, that's my job, is to put the body back in better position to heal itself.